it's the world's biggest addiction, and how seeing things more clearly gives a needed perspective. So, hi, Will Perry here. Welcome to another Keeping the Conversation Alive. I hope you are well today. So, the world's biggest addiction, what's that about? What would you say immediately now? What is the world's biggest addiction? And maybe it's an obvious one. Yes, alcohol. I watched, it was Jordan Peterson video. I kind of had these threads that I watch, and you know how the algorithms work, that because you watch something, more comes up on it, and then unrelated stuff, but stuff related to one of them comes up, and it's like, ooh, I love going down those rabbit holes and rabbit warrens. I come back up and, hello, I know something new. So fascinating. It was talking about alcohol, and it was saying it's the world's most dangerous drug, and it was like, oh, alcohol. Yeah, I know it as well. You know, because it's legalized. It's the most damaging alcohol. It's both physically and mentally. Sorry, it's the world's most dangerous drug, both physically and mentally. And yet it's the most widely available. And the stats on it are shocking. But I didn't want to just bring out stats. I thought I'd share my journey because I'm teetotal. But absolutely haven't been teetotal. You might have heard me talk about my journey with alcohol. That I leaned on it as a prop, a crutch. Yeah, that's different from crotch, isn't it? That was my crutch for many years, but increasingly so until it became really apparent to me and really uncomfortable. And that's when I decided to do something about it. So, as a background, I remember when I was struggling with my own business, living on my own after my second divorce. Sometimes I'd be struggling on my own, feeling alone, confused, not understanding stuff, lots of missing pieces, and not succeeding in my business. Though I'm sure the money at that time, if it had been there, it would have masked that. That would have been there. It would have masked some of the emotions, maybe, but the deeper stuff would have been there. And that deeper stuff was what's wrong with me, what's going on, feeling down about myself, just having those down days, which I know now were kind of, where I was kind of suffering from depression, but not, a kind of milder level of depression, but of what I have called it high functioning depression. Kind of laugh about that, but to a level where you don't quite go to the doctors, you don't want to become dependent on drugs to make yourself feel better. You think you can pull yourself out of it, but you don't. And I remember at that time not having any money. So very clearly I had a car that I had when I was married, we were cash rich. I was working in a corporation, I had a good job. It was really interesting and stimulating. And then I took redundancy. Because it was kind of forced, but with an organisational change. But I took it. If I'd stayed, I would have lost all my 12 years, I was going to say no claims bonus. My 12 years redundancy, I would have lost it at the start of a new contract. And it's like, yeah, piss off. So I took that. I thought, right, I'll just go get another job, and that would be cool. And I did, but it was quite testing on the self-worth to put myself out there and have 6 months without a job. It was about that. No, it's 5 months actually before I started in the new job, and it was like quite testing putting the CV out there, having not done that for 12 years. Anyway, I'd always had a drink, but I wouldn't say it was too much. It was drinking at home, probably every night, but nothing, nothing to worry about. A glass or two doesn't hurt, does it? I remember that time being quite difficult, but then times at home on my own, in my own house, whereas I couldn't fix things, the kitchen was a bit rubbishy, I wanted to get that done. I couldn't move forward because of my own lack of income. And I was doing painting and decorating part-time, and it was like, that was hard work, coming back completely covered in sawdusty stuff, sanding down, and it's like, feeling a bit crappy actually, not where I wanted to be. And what I do, and the point of this is that the alcohol became more important, more significant, and I was aware of it. And then sometimes I was being, focused on my health and looking after myself, that little bit around my belly wouldn't go. And it was like, the question would always be asked, what do you drink? And it's like, yeah, because I'd have half a bottle of wine a night, or a bottle at the weekends each night, and yeah, I'm not going to shift that. I'm not going to move that. Oh, just run harder, run faster, do more. That'll be all right. Right. And covering it up and not being prepared to look at the darker side of that, what's underneath. I'm mentioning darker side a lot this weekend. It's with intent. Because we all have it, yet we kind of, no, fine. And I don't want that for you, I want you to be able to go to the dark side and come back. I noticed it then. So one time I had this nice car when we were cash rich, and I love cars, so I can equate it into car terms. And I had to sell that car. I hung on to it for longer than I should have, paid out for it on the hire purchase, even though I didn't have the money. And it was like, oh crap, I'm going to have to let it go. Cleared all the finance and everything, but. And bought another car with it, but a much lower key. Nice car, but it was an older car, and it had ripped seats in it. And I thought, I must get that before it gets bad. And of course I didn't, and I never had the money, and it got worse. And I kept catching on things, and the tear got bigger and bigger, and it was oh no. And every time I opened the door, it reminded me of how useless I was. Oh God, that was my mother-in-law belief. I can remember once going and filling it up and only needing to go on a journey and only having £7. It was literally down to the pence in 29 or something to put into it. It was probably £7.50 that I had, and I put into it. But I know it's £7 something, and it was like, God, I can't even put £10 in this. It's like, oh God, I'm so useless. And then. Not having enough money to buy alcohol, but needing it. Get that, needing it. So you're getting the cheapest rubbish that you can get, going in, feeling a bit like a hobo isn't even a word that we use in this country, but feeling a bit like a tramp, and the Liefrenbush, the cheapest, nastiest wine. Oh, it's not so bad. Oh, that's all right. It's getting it, warmth, feeling, crutch. Get me? Do you understand this? And the moment that I changed, the moment that I knew I had to change was my wife at the time. She was going off on a week's jaunt with her business, things she'd won, gone off, and she got loads of alcohol in for me. So I was looking after the kids. How many? 4 kids. Three. How many was it at the time? 3 or 4 kids. Can't remember. And 3 kids. Oh God, I can't remember. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But doesn't matter. It's only a kid. Going away and stacking up the alcohol at that time. You'll need this. You'll need that. How much? What things do you want? It was given. It was like boom, 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 boom. Loads of alcohol, more than I could ever drink in a week. Because I drank every drop of it, and it was shocking. And I was a few days into her being away, and it's stressful being a parent, or it can be stressful being a parent. And this is going to take a bit longer, 8 minutes. I realised at one point that I was like, God, watching the clock. What time can I start drinking? And it's like, oh God, you're driving me around the bend. Oh, want a drink. Getting a bit shouting. Why am I shouting at the kids? It's like, oh, I'm stressed. Why am I stressed? Look at the dark side. There's so much going on. I can see it now. There's so much going on in darker stuff. You're feeling useless, it's like, right, crutch. Does it make sense? And it's like, right, it's almost 12 o'clock. I'm thinking, wow, it's almost 12 o'clock. How the time gets, gin o'clock gets, I didn't drink gin, but how that time gets closer and closer. It's all right. You're making excuses. It's all right. I can remember in that week having, it was Jack Daniel's Tennessee whiskey, but the honey one. I loved that. It was like medicine. I could take that. It was like, oh, the warmth of that. And some people hate it, but that's cool. Have a shot of that, fine. Or a shot of that and a beer because it was the weekend at lunchtime. Oh, that was nice. And then cool, calm, being the dad and all that sort of thing and enjoying it. But at those points, the stress points, it was like, what's the crutch? What would I reach to? And of course, it was the alcohol. But in the evenings, come the bedtime's gone and everything, then I could dive into it. And I had lagers, Guinness, shots, and then the wine in the evening. I mullered that everything, and my wife at the time got so much more than I'd. It's like, oh, why do you get so much? And sometimes I thought, you're doing this intentionally to sabotage myself, to sabotage me, because you're doing the same to you. You're sabotaging yourself in so many different ways, which I could see was sad. But I was in it. I was on the crutch, and it was, and I mullered the whole lot. And I got halfway through that week, and I saw what I was doing, and it shocked me. And this is why we need to look at the darker side. It shocked me, and I got more honest with myself about what my feelings were that I was covering up, and with the crutch of the alcohol, and it was scary and uncomfortable. And it's like, right, I'm going to give up. I need to give up. I've got to give up. And that's the thought. I never thought I could. And it's like, yes, okay, I need to. I know I want to change this. I don't want to. Where's this going to lead? Where's this going to? It's only getting worse. It's only incrementally over time getting worse. So it's like, right, okay. And this is what I do. This is the way we do it. And I do it, but we all do it different ways. I chose in that moment to give up, but I knew it would be too much temptation. So with all the alcohol around, so I finished off everything, knowing that that was it. And sometimes it was a bit uncomfortable. Not I drank it, but it was a bit uncomfortable knowing that I'm drinking this to get rid of it, and I'm giving up afterwards. The dichotomy of I want more of this stuff, and this is the last of it. And it's like, that was uncomfortable, but I did it. And I haven't drunk since then. That was the decision I made and why I made it. And everyone's different. You might not have that, but you might have that about something else. It could be emotional eating. It could be it's a behaviour. And Gabor Mate says it beautifully about addiction. That it's any behaviour that is detrimental to us, but gives us a relief in that moment, a short-term relief for a longer-term detriment. Any behaviour, gambling, shopping, sex addiction, any behaviour that we repeat, that is a pattern, that has a negative detriment, but a short-term relief. What's that crutch? What does it give you? What does that, from the darker side, what does it relieve? What pain does it relieve? Oh, I'm useless. It was mine. And since then, there's a clarity, of course, that comes from being alcohol free. There's a clarity. The other side of that is, then being able to take on the fitness and do the health side of things without having that little barrier around there that I could never shift. But the clarity of not having to have a crutch to lean on that goes, I'm useless. The clarity out of that came, actually, what is, and going to the darker side and finding what that is. And I created out of that the mother of all beliefs, and it was like, holy moly, let's get real with what this is. It's not so scary. I understand it. I know where it's come from. All the pieces aligned, and it's not so scary. Yet when I had it that it was scary, it was the darker side. I just kept drinking. Does that make sense? Is it the most dangerous drug? Yes, it is the most dangerous drug. Yeah, it's completely legal, and it's encouraged even. Think of all the adverts out there of all the different. Think of all the different adverts that you see out there for alcohol. It's infused within our culture, and it's the most dangerous drug because we don't become idiots when we drink. We take more risks when we're drunk, and that has a massive impact on us, and so much more. And it's not I never got drunk. That's the damaging. What's it covering up that we need to actually just solve? Huge. Look at Christmas at the minute. It's coming towards Christmas. Huge quantities in the supermarket shelves. You walk in, alcohol. This alcohol, that alcohol. Because you need to get drunk to get. No, you need to drink to get through this festive season. You need to drink. And it's like, actually, you probably need to do the opposite of that. You probably, and then come February, is it dry January? You probably need to not drink for the rest of the year. Look at the COVID times as well. You need to drink more than ever to get through. Oh, do you? Or do you need to do the opposite of that? Do you need to take control of yourself once and for all? Once and for good, So, see the real impact of yourself for that. And that's something that's been really difficult for me to see over the years. It's been so invaluable for me and my children. because this doesn't just, the ripple doesn't just impact us and our health. It impacts us in so many different ways. You'd be astounded. So my invitation to you, speak with me if you want me to help you guide through the darkness of these deeper emotions. Or just to talk about alcohol if you want, because I'd say I was a kind of high functioning alcoholic. I think it's a better way to describe it than saying, oh no, I wasn't alcoholic, but I drank every day and at least 3/4 of a bottle because it was going up and up and up. So when do you class it as alcohol? I've never been to AA, but luckily I've just been able to make that decision and follow through with it. But I'm not too bothered about the definition of alcoholic. But I was verging on it. I was bordering on it. Maybe I was. Maybe I was a high functioning one. Maybe I just was. But anyway, I quit it in that moment. Made the decision, and then when it was finished, by the time the good lady came back, then that was it. No more alcohol. And I'm very proud of that for me, but also prouder of the work. Oh, feeling emotional. Prouder. Whew, let it flow. I'm letting it flow. It's cool. Prouder of the work that I've done on the darker side of me, rather than covering it up and because before the alcohol, I was a real stoner. I used to smoke 20 joints a day. Oh my God. Oh no, I joke about that. I used to smoke a lot of joints a day, but then when I gave up cigarettes, I smoked 20 joints a day. Oh, with fags in them. Oh dear. So the things we do to kid ourselves, absolutely. So if you think it would be a benefit, do share this stuff, the self-esteem test, which kind of speaks of this stuff. But do share this with anybody that you think might benefit of, or to have a conversation with somebody else about this stuff. Both watch this and then have a what did you think? He's handsome, isn't he? Wow, yeah, I thought that too. Oh yeah, and he's got great glasses and his funny teeth though. Oh, I didn't notice his teeth. Let's go back and look at that. Oh yeah, he's got really funny teeth. What about that hair? Real 50s throwback. But that's quite cool. What about that ring he wears? I didn't notice the ring, didn't you? Oh, what ring? Anyway, just share this stuff. Have a conversation. Be open. Be honest with yourself because it's really uncomfortable stuff. And it's not just you. This is in our culture. This is in our world. The world's biggest addiction. Is it the Western world or is it the world? I'd suggest it's probably just the Western world, but and the colonialism that we've as a culture, the Western world, the way we've gone and dominated other cultures. What have we done to them? We've destroyed them and given them alcohol. That's another story. If this has been of benefit to you, please share it. Have a conversation with somebody else. But if you feel like you want me to help you, or even have a conversation about diving into the darker side and guiding your way through that, then please have a conversation. This is the longest one I've done. Thank you very much for sticking out this long. I hope you have an awesome rest of the day. Loves you, boy. Bye bye. Oh, it didn't press. There we go. I'll press it again.